You're muted, Nick.
Long time no see.
No, it's all good.
Yep, we did good today.
Now you can mute yourself.
Johnny.
Nick?
You don't have the link?
How was the middle school?
Hi, Christina. It was good.
Good.
It's very good. Got almost all of them picked up, so it was great.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
She's lying. No, I'm just kidding.
Not.
No, it went good.
It was
Good.
great. Very good.
See, I love when people laugh and smile. That keeps us going.
Yeah.
Are you on, Johnny?
Yeah, just trying to jump on now.
All right, Johnny's jumping on. I'm going to hang up, Johnny.
I will say the algae was in good spirits today from what I saw. Yeah. I was there from, obviously Julianne was a mess, like all over the place, but I was there from 8 to literally like 1:45 and people were good. So
Amazing.
that's good.
Thank you. So let's see, are we going to have the biggest number of attendees? We have 13. It's all
13,
good.
maybe?
Yes, there are 13 guests.
Oh, good.
All right. Hello.
Hi, John. Thanks for coming.
Yelling.
So we'll get started in a few minutes. It's not quite 6:30 yet. Christina, if needed, can you share your screen?
Let me see. I should be able to. Oh, actually.
So I don't know if you can. Let me
Yeah,
just-
it's not letting me. It said host disabled participant screen sharing.
So I am going to allow both of you to, or I'll allow all of you. Try that.
Yep, I can now.
Perfect.
Hello.
Hi, Paul.
Does my hair look okay?
Comedians. All right, so it is 6:30. We are going to get started. Thank you to the 20 plus attendees that are joining us. We appreciate your time, and hopefully we'll make it worth your while. I'm Karen Winsberg, Director of Instructional Technology for the Norton Public Schools, and this is my 6th year. I think I'm starting year 6, and it has been a summer. So we're really excited to get back to it this week, but I know that you are probably have some questions. If you're new to Norton, you might have some questions about the programs. If you're not new to Norton, you might have some questions. So we definitely want to provide some insight about some of the new things that we have, because there are a lot of new programs. We're going to do a little bit of a presentation and then a Q&A. We'll stop partway through to offer some thoughts on some different things that have come up. If you have a question, you can absolutely submit it to the Q&A. One thing that I think we had a small number of questions submitted ahead of time, so those will be the first ones that we'll kind of address at the beginning of the Q&A section. So I'm going to have my team, my awesome team here, who have really been instrumental in getting all of the devices configured and software ready and staff as ready as we can be with all of the new items. So I will have them introduce themselves. Nick.
I'm Nick Zielinski, IT technician, district-wide.
John.
Hello, I'm John. I'm the IT technician in the tech department.
Go ahead, Paul.
Hi, Paul Driscoll. I'm the network administrator for the district.
And our newest member, Christina.
Hi, I'm Christina Shalingo. I'm the new digital learning specialist for the district, formerly of Sixth Purple at this middle school.
Yes, so some of you might have had a student or a child attend Norton Middle School, and Christina could have been their teacher. But we stole her. She's amazing with tech and really instrumental in preparing the teachers to be ready. So I have a presentation, again, very informal, and we're trying not to stress you out. We're trying to give you some information that might help you and support your children. We know we want to thank you actually for the amazing job you all did supporting your children in the spring. We know how hard that was. So let me get started. So this is the actual link to the presentation. It is just a shortened bit.ly link if you want to have access to it. You can take a picture of it or you can write it down, but we will also be sharing the presentation on the district website, and the entire presentation tonight is being recorded, and we will also post that online. So obviously, if you have seen us lately, it's probably because you have picked up a device for your child. We are very fortunate in Norton that we are now completely one-to-one, and we have the iPads for our preschool, kindergarten, and first grade, Chromebooks in grades 2 to 12. All will use our NPS Google accounts. We have transitioned over the last few years to the first initial last name, but Paul reminded me today that our high school sophomores, juniors, and seniors have their full first name and last name with year of graduation. So depending, typically if you have an elementary student and you're new to Norton, this is important to know to support your children or your child. Please know, I have been getting some questions lately about email addresses and parents being able to email their children. We don't allow that for our youngest students. It's closed, so it's just an internal email system. So our staff can email the students. but we don't allow any outside, and it's really for, protective reasons, right? Security. Our high school students, though, we do allow them simply because they're connecting with businesses for internships, or we're also looking at colleges and the college board and Naviance at the high school. So we have some different needs for those students, and they really need to use their school email in a professional manner. So we do have it open as an external, allowing external emails at the high school. Now, with all of this technology, we want to be sure to provide tech support, and our team identified a really great system called Incident IQ, and it allows for guest tech support. So some of you have already been submitting, and we thank you, but you can see this is our entire technology team here, and we are supporting all of the students, all of the staff, and now families. So if it takes us a little bit this week, we've just been spending 5 days distributing devices, so please accept our apologies. We will be much better starting tomorrow. But this is something that you can do on behalf of your child. If you have certainly someone in preschool, K1, even second grade, if you wanted to submit a tech support request, that would mean like if your child's device is having difficulty. And this goes for whether you are doing the parent choice remote or if you're doing the hybrid model, we welcome to be able to support you and your children with our district devices. This is just how you find it. If you go to any of the school websites, or if you go to the district page, you can access either under quick links, and this is where the students could submit their own tech support request using their Google login. Or if you go to families, we have the guest tech support request. And you would just put in your information and we will get back to you. Now I'm going to have my team jump in here, because this is obviously when we go to remote only in the spring, or this past spring, it's really difficult when you don't have internet. So fortunately, we had some devices in the district to be able to help some families. We had what are called Khajiit hotspots. So we were able to provide about 10 families with internet access in the spring. It's not enough. You know, the pandemic has really impacted a lot of families. And I can speak to, you know, if we're in a hybrid model or the parent choice remote, we want to be able to have our students online to be able to interact, and you know, internet is a part of that. So in the survey that went home this summer, that was requesting information about your choice, you know, whether it was, you know, did you want to participate in the remote, parent choice remote, or the hybrid? There was a couple of questions about internet and whether you have internet, whether you don't have internet, and then if you do have internet, you know, do you have any concerns? Is it sufficient? And so right now we are currently helping families who have absolutely no access to internet. And if we're able to help all of them, then we can, you know, maybe reach out to other families who perhaps have limited internet. But I wanted my team to talk a little bit about weak internet, because there was like 100 people that responded on the survey about weak internet. And I am an instructional person. So Christina and I are like-minded. I was a former elementary and middle school teacher. So the networking piece, I look to Paul and Nick and John as the experts. I currently, or in the spring actually, I had 2 college students home working remotely, plus myself for a good part of the time. So it is stressful when you have multiple people trying to access, you know, your wireless internet. So for me, I can only speak to myself. I have a room where my wireless router is set up, and then we spend most of our time in a different room. or my kids were trying to spend time working in their rooms, which are really far away from the router. So we were experiencing difficulties with our internet as well. But I don't know if Nick or Paul or John, if you want to jump in and speak to perhaps some ways that we can troubleshoot, you know, people who have weak internet.
Sure. So some of the best things to do is, if you're having trouble, get as close as you can to your internet router. Other things is you can get extenders. There's all different types of devices that will allow you to extend your wireless signal to different areas of the house. There's most people who have internet from Comcast have enough bandwidth from Comcast to handle anything that their kids are going to have to do from home. I mean, I had, like Karen, I had everybody home in the spring. I had 4 people working from home out of my house, pretty much all at the same time. And we did have a few minor issues, and we were able to fix those by extending the network out to the areas of the house that needed it.
I don't know what that means, Paul.
So basically, to extend the network
extending
out,
the network mean?
it's buying devices that are called network extenders, or you can buy complete kits that actually do a complete mesh network in the house, like you bought.
Oh, like the Google.
Like the Google. There's a Google Mesh. There's probably 4 or 5 different manufacturers. I'm not sure if Comcast has a solution like that. I know I live in Rhode Island. We have Cox Communications for the internet, and they have devices that you can actually buy to add on to the router you have in your house.
They do, Paul. They have Comcast. I just bought 3. It comes in a kit. You could buy either 1 or you could buy 3 that puts around your house. They just plug right into the wall, and they're called pods through Comcast. And they actually could add it right to your bill, so you can order it right through Comcast. If you have an online account with them, you can order it right there, or you can go right to the Comcast store here in Mansfield Crossing. You can go in there and ask them for pods for your house, and they're pretty much plug and play. So they're fairly easy to do.
So someone like me who's not a techie would be able to just go for it, right? And it would work, no problem, Nick?
Yes.
Yeah, they basically plug in and they sync right up to the existing router that you have.
Yep.
So for anybody who continues to have internet issues, perhaps we need to look at, you know, talking to Comcast. I know we only have Comcast here in Norton, which can be a little bit of a struggle. But let's see how things go over the next few weeks. And if it continues to be a problem, you know, hopefully we can host another one of these, but reach out to us via the Incident IQ, the guest tech support, and we can try to help you. So we do have some software that is exciting and scary. School Brains is a community portal that we typically have used for our 6th grade through 12th graders. And I believe Mr. Maloof from the middle school sent out an email today with usernames and passwords for all of our like incoming 6th graders and new students. Typically the same thing happens at the high school. It comes from guidance. And that is how you can access your child's grades online. We've really never used it, or we hadn't used it prior to the spring for our elementary students because of the standards-based grading, but we're looking at it, perhaps opening it for our elementary, just to be able to exchange like the report cards and such in a secure manner. ClassLink is new this year, and one of the questions, please know anything that we did this summer or anything that we had been working on for the fall was really from feedback that we had received from families, from students, from teachers. And we know a pain point was all of the different programs and all of the different software applications that students were trying to access in the spring, and that had different usernames and passwords, and trying to remember everything was just, especially for our littles, and I'll say our littles are like our JCS and LG kiddos. We heard you, and believe me, we really made it a priority. So we decided to get a single sign-on. And for our older students, they've typically been using Google as their single sign-on, you know, their Norton Google account. But we wanted to keep something that, you know, was kind of across the district, something that was more robust, that was just not, you know, we had Clever for the littles last year, but Clever didn't play well with everything. So we felt, we did some research, and ClassLink is really quite an amazing tool once we get it completely up and running. I never realized how many schools, you know, this also was a pain point for, or how many districts, because we've been working on this for quite some time, and it's really challenging to get, in the middle of a pandemic, to get technology companies who are working with people all across the country who are also looking to do the same thing that we're doing, to try to get everything done for the first day of school. What's super challenging is the Northeast is like the last to go back to school. So we've been battling a little bit trying to get on people's calendars. So, you know, we again appreciate your patience, but we do have some things in ClassLink. We've pushed it out to the Chromebooks. So when students log into the Chromebooks, they should see their ClassLink, and honestly, they should be automatically logged in because it's syncing with Google. And some of the programs are already there and working. Some are not. They will once we sync between our school brain student information system, ClassLink, and then we work our behind the scenes magic with, I'm going to say Paul works his magic, with rostering and getting all of these programs kind of talking together. So it'll be fantastic because students won't have to remember a ton of passwords, because even if we don't have it completely rostered, it will save the students' passwords for them. So we're really looking forward to using it. And it does also, for our littles, does the quick cards, which are the QR codes, which you can use with an iPad or with the Chromebook camera. So either of those will work. And our vendor, I asked if she would share some kind of how-to with ClassLink, and that's what this link is here. So if you copy that, I know I had given you the NPS QA Tech kind of shortened link, but this is actually for ClassLink itself. It's just a guide directly for the program, kind of getting started. And maybe, Christina, I might have you jump in here with our Google Classroom. So actually all teachers in grades 6 through 12 will be using Google Classroom this year. And I put here 4 to 12 because I do think that our 4th and 5th grade teachers will be utilizing Google Classroom. I do know that some of them also like Seesaw, because we do have Seesaw for our elementary students. So you might see some overlap of Google Classroom 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, as well as Seesaw. But both of these are ways to kind of organize work and assignments, as well as kind of keeping parents informed. And so I don't know, do you want to jump in, Christina, and talk a little bit about either of those, both of those?
Yeah, I can definitely speak to both of those. In terms of Google Classroom, there's going to be different pages set up for students. So if they've never used Google Classroom before, there's Stream, Depending on how a teacher has it set up, that's going to be kind of their landing page. Like when they first go to a specific Google Classroom, they'll see something called the stream. It might be full of stuff, or it might be very limited depending on the teacher. But really where a student's going to spend most of their time is actually the classwork page. So the classwork is where they're going to see their assignments. They're going to see attachments if they're, let's just say, working on a Google Slides presentation or looking at a Google Doc. And that's where they'll be able to turn assignments into their teacher. There's a third page called the People page or People tab. So that's really just going to have the other students in the Google Classroom, and it's also going to have their teachers. So they might not spend that much time on that page. While we're on the subject of Google Classroom, though, I do know that teachers are setting up something called Guardian Summary emails. So if you're not familiar with that at all, you should be on the lookout in your email for basically an invitation to accept Guardian Summary emails. You don't have to. You will have the ability to unsubscribe from them. But if you have a Google account, I believe you actually have some like added flexibility where you can decide if you'd like a weekly summary email or a daily summary email, or of course, no summary email. But one cool thing that Google does is that, let's just say, you know, you have a child at the middle school, that child has 6 different teachers in 6 different Google Classrooms. If you're subscribed to all of their Guardian Summary emails, you'll actually get it in one email and see all the upcoming things and missing things for all 6 Google Classrooms at once. So you don't have to worry about your email being absolutely flooded, because I know people don't like that. In terms of Seesaw, I know it's a different platform. I've been working with the elementary teachers on trying to make things as streamlined as possible. So instead of kind of pushing out 5 or 6 different assignments and one that sort of holds all of them, we've been working on just pushing out one Seesaw assignment, and students have a lot of flexibility within Seesaw. If they've never used it before, it's a really cool tool. Teachers will post like announcements either to the class, or they can go out to families too, and you can actually have a dialogue with the teacher within the Seesaw platform, which is pretty neat. And definitely recommend, sorry to flip-flop back, I just saw something on the slide that reminded me, have students turn off certain email notifications for Google Classroom. I know that we have a nice little PDF with a link to a video that we can share too, that has step-by-step instructions, but they might get pretty overwhelmed if they don't go through and adjust those settings. So just keep in mind that that is completely changeable. Your child does not have to get tons and tons of emails from Google Classroom each day.
Thanks, Christina.
Yeah.
And obviously, we're all experts in Google Meet and Zoom now, right? After the spring and all of the different sessions. You know, but on Monday's remote day, that's remote learn from home day, you know, we have teachers who, we have to remember, it was emergency teaching in the spring, right? So we were trying to support people with, you know, a comfort level. You know, a lot of staff, although we've been a Google district for some time, never really did a Google Meet, right? Never really had a need to do any type of video conferencing. So we are, you know, still allowing Google Meet and Zoom to be used in the district. And they're both very secure in the sense of we're able to keep out anyone who's not from Norton Public Schools. You know, we've asked teachers not to post direct links publicly and to not share. We're certainly well aware that there are some students, or, you know, across the country, not Norton students, you know, doing some nefarious things. I don't expect us to have any issues because of the security and the settings that we have locked down. And another, a final piece that I wanted to share with you is working with the communications office. We are trying to streamline the communications because this was another pain point for families, the emails were just overwhelming, right? So we were trying to look for something that would be more of a kind of like one-stop shopping way for all of the buildings to communicate it kind of in one place. So Parent Square is this really great app, as well as an online tool that you can go to that will kind of feed everything into one place for you. So look forward to getting that up and running. And also, this is just some videos that we have, some training videos, and again on this presentation. And I think, Christina, did you find these? Were these from the global Google group, the junior training series? I'm not sure, but they're really fantastic. If you're not a Google person, because I get it, a lot of people outside of education are Microsoft and typically use those tools, you know, whether it be PowerPoint or whether, you know, you're just more comfortable with those tools. This will absolutely be great, a training series for students and families. Now, I know we don't have many questions, but I wanted us to have, you know, 15, 20, 30 minutes to be able to answer the questions. So I do have some submitted questions. So we have this first one, which was, will cheat sheets and directions be provided to parents on all of the different apps the students will be using and how to log into them? I'm especially concerned about the elementary level. So I hope that with ClassLink that's answered your question. You know, I think perhaps we should look into doing more of a 30-minute kind of quick session on different things rather than having to try to take up an hour. What we actually focusing on too is developing a website that has some parent supports for you with some little tidbits, you know, bite-sized PD for parents, let's say. But hopefully ClassLink will take care of this pain point. Another submitted question was, can you please suggest the best wireless keyboard mouse to work with the Chromebooks? I would love to have my kids ergonomically comfortable sitting all day, elevating the screen to be eye level. So I don't know, John, Paul, Nick, if you want to jump into this.
I think as far as those go, any Bluetooth keyboard mouse combination should work fine. I know a lot of the kids have their own Bluetooth mouse that they've been using throughout the last year and the year before. All work fine.
Yeah, they'll usually just install automatically as well. So.
Yeah, just if you're looking to buy one, just make sure it's compatible with a Chromebook.
You
So
can usually get something like that on Amazon, yeah.
Yeah, we can look some up and put some links up.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm looking up some right now.
Great. Definitely, even if your child doesn't want the keyboard, if you wanted a wireless mouse, I can't tell you how many times we have had students, after we've collected Chromebooks, say they forgot the little piece, right, in the Chromebook, and they, you know, try to hunt it down so that they can get it back. But anyway. Okay, so this is another question that was submitted. As a parent, will I be able to monitor my children's activity and assignments? Will I be able to send them email to their school account? I have 3 kids going into 6th grade. Oh my goodness. And found it a big challenge to monitor their schoolwork last year and see what was being completed. So I think definitely with the Guardian summaries, I think especially at the middle school, if I know anything about the middle school, especially 6th grade, they are big users of Google Classroom. So I'm guessing that the Guardian summaries, and correct me if I'm wrong or feel free to jump in, Christina, I'm thinking between that and School Brains, that combination should be a great way for you to monitor your child's activity and assignments.
And I know Google Classroom has updated on the student end, they kind of have, it's called like their to-do list. So students will be able to go through and sort of like see a list of from all their different classes, what assignments they need to do. And even they have a calendar view so they can see it kind of like with all of the due dates. So I highly recommend that you and your children utilize those features within Google Classroom in addition to what Karen was saying with the Guardian summaries.
All right, so now I know I had 3 whole questions submitted ahead of time. It's still exciting. I was all excited. All right, so let's take a look at the open questions. So will the teachers show the 3rd graders exactly how to use Chromebooks? And will they be sent home with a booklet for the Chromebook? So the 3rd grade teachers are not new to Chromebooks. They have had them. They were on carts in the classroom and they were shared. Last year was the first year that they went home, right? In the spring, I should say, we decided on that Thursday or Friday to send them home. And so the teachers do spend time going through with the students. So the expectation would be that you're going to send your child to school with their Chromebook. I would just ask, develop a routine, perhaps charging it in the kitchen or in the living room. I would probably set a strict rule about devices in bedrooms. That's me personally. I don't necessarily think that a student's device, especially an elementary student, even a middle school student, we do filter the devices, but I don't think they need to be in their bedrooms. So perhaps setting just a routine where they're charging it at night so it'll be ready for school the next day. And whether that school is remote or whether it's their hybrid day, they're coming in, I think it would definitely be something that you can expect the teachers to be using on a daily basis, because they've already asked me what happens when kids forget their devices. And I said, oh, they won't forget their devices. I'm really confident that the students are going to be so excited about using them that they will not forget them, because we can't share devices, right? A part of this COVID-19 is that we really have to, everybody has their own, right? That's the point of the one-to-one. So if your child comes to school without their device and we have provided it, I'm sorry to say that we will not have a device for them to use at school, that they'll have to learn the old-fashioned way, I guess, which is a little challenging if everything is kind of electronic. So another question that came in is, if you were issued an iPad, will you still be able to access all school apps and services on a personal device? So I am going to assume that that means our youngest learners were issued the iPads. So the only thing, I'm trying to think, Paul, maybe correct me here. Can they download ClassLink and be able to log in on a personal device with ClassLink? I'm going to say probably. Right?
Yeah, ClassLink has Android app, obviously has the Apple, and you can just go to the web page on any computer, whether it be a Mac or a PC.
Great. Question about School Brains logins. I believe that they were sent today, as I mentioned previously. Mr. Maloof, the guidance counselor, sent those out. So if you did not get one, check your spam folder. I do know that sometimes, I'd love to say that all email goes through all the time, but I know that we had some issues this summer with Blackboard and Comcast emails, so I would just double check your spam folder. Great question. Does the tech department offer insurance for the Chromebooks? So typically, we allow for one free break fix. We don't offer it ourselves, an insurance, but on the tech department website, there is a link to Worth Avenue Group, which is would be a private kind of, you would work with them to get insurance, separate insurance for the Chromebook if that was something that you wanted. I can certainly put that in a more prominent place, but that is, I think, on the one-to-one Chromebook page on the technology website. For the first time, kindergarten remote learning parents, yay. Will there be a demonstration on how to log into live classrooms and emails? That's a great question. I'm sure that we can work with Mr. Gagan, if you're doing the remote learning, to make sure that we can assist with that. All right, it seems that the iPads are locked down a bit on Bluetooth. Is there a way to connect a wireless keyboard to it? We do lock down everything, especially for our littlest learners, but Paul or Nick or John, does anybody want to?
I would have to go in and take a look at exactly what we locked down on Bluetooth, because it's been a while since I've set that up, but I can maybe loosen that up a little bit, since we're going to have them at home and possibly needing Bluetooth keyboards.
Great, thank you. How will grade 1 get their meet codes before the first day? I'm assuming that this is a hybrid student, right? Because would they need to get into a Google Meet on the first day? No, not really. I think first grade, if you were to go in to Seesaw, I don't necessarily think that first grade, unless it's parent choice remote, then you should be hearing something separate from Mr. Gagan or Jen O'Neill. But if you're a first grade parent, first graders, if you picked up an iPad and you're a hybrid learner, my gut would be to check Seesaw. Okay, I don't know if Paul or Nick or John, my child's Chromebook has lost the network connection. This is the only device in the house having an issue. What can we do? Can a loaner be given on her first day of school on Thursday?
Yeah, we could definitely give a loaner, worst case scenario, definitely, just to get the student up and going. But I would honestly try to, if you tried restarting the Chromebook, you could always try, restarting your wireless router too as well. Start with those steps.
Well, and also we would want to know, maybe you could do a guest tech support request, only because we would want to know the name of your child and the school. If her first day is Thursday, coming into the buildings, we would want to be able to have that for her. Okay. How do you find out password for student emails in elementary schools? So Amy, what we did, if you picked up the Chromebook, if your child was in grade 2 and up, or if it was an iPad, should have had a sheet with it that had information on it. I want to say the temporary password was purple 17 with a capital P.
With a capital P.
And 17. I do know that our teachers like to be able to help the students, especially with their Google accounts. So I know that our 2 computer teachers are stressing over the passwords. And, if your child comes into school, they may very well help them reset the password. So typically what we have done in the past is we have set it so that it's something that teachers and staff have access to in School Brains, so that if a child doesn't remember, they can kind of go right in and assist them with it. But I'm assuming, or I'm going to guess that if you are not sure what the email is, or what the Google password is, just reach out via the tech support request, the guest request. All right. So another great question, do you have to use a Chromebook, right? Can we use our own device? Absolutely. So the great thing about Google Classroom and Seesaw is they're web-based, right? The great thing about if you're a parent choice remote, and whether you have older students that are doing the Edgenuity or the younger students, they're all web-based platforms. So it kind of doesn't matter what device you're using. It's our responsibility to make sure that everybody can get online and everybody has access to a device, but you can absolutely use your own. We have BYOD in the district as well. We have many kids who much prefer, a laptop over a Chromebook. So completely acceptable. All right. Why is the autofill password disabled on the iPads? This is suggested when logging into ClassLink, or is there a password manager used on the iPads that I can leverage? My first grader can barely read, so making sure he can access the apps during his remote days is critical. So Paul, is that something that we can look at or look more into?
We can. ClassLink is linked to the Google account, which stays logged in, and then you just click on the login with Google button and it should jump right in. Are we going to be using the quick cards for the iPads as well?
I believe
that will alleviate the password issue.
Right. So I sent instructions to all of the teachers, the primary teachers, on how to create the quick cards. And we basically, like I said, is the quick cards are like a QR code that the students can hold up to the camera on their iPad or they can just kind of scan it, and it will take them right into ClassLink. And, really the Google account is really the only password that we're really kind of pushing them to know, right? But I do get it. I get it when they're little in first grade, kindergarten, they can barely write their first name, never mind their last name. And I know reading, they're just learning. So we'll help you. We'll support you as best we can. I think if there's a way for us to perhaps laminate those quick cards, maybe put them on a chain, like a keychain almost, right? That would be ideal for the littles in their backpacks or something. Will the teachers be sending out information on what programs to use log into for the first day remote kids? My child is in first grade and we have not received any information on what is happening the first day in regards to what we are to do and what apps we will be using. I would expect you to hear something from, again, Mr. Gagan, Mrs. O'Neill, or the teachers. I don't have any information about if you are the full parent choice remote. I don't have any information about that. If your child are doing the hybrid and they are in the cohort that is on Thursday, that first day being the I think cohort 2 is Wednesday and Friday. I know it's confusing, but I believe that you should have your child check their school email. So they would log into Google and then go to their email and see if there's any invitations to Google Classroom, or go into Seesaw and see if there's anything in Seesaw for the littles. I would highly recommend to do that. I have an iPad for my first grader. None of the apps are logged in. Is this the way it should be? I know she had used some of them last year, like ST Math. Will we be getting separate login? No, we said that we're going to be connecting as many apps as possible to ClassLink. So the ClassLink app is the most important app for you and your child to get to know. ST Math is already up and running in ClassLink. So if your child can use their Google login. So is that the same one, Paul? Correct? Maybe you can just clarify for me. When they go, the very first time when they logged into Safari, was that their Google account?
Yeah, as soon as they try to connect to the internet, they get redirected to log into their Google account. And then from that point on, that's logged into the device. They should be able to connect to their ClassLink account.
But that was through the securely filtering, correct?
Right, but that logs the device into Google. Similar, just like if you got logged into the Chrome browser, once you logged into the browser, it should keep you jumping around with anything you need that uses a Google login.
So then if I went from there into ClassLink, do you think it would automatically? I actually haven't tried it, so I don't want to admit, like, I don't want to, well, I will admit that I just don't know, right? So it would be one of those things that we could try with, a test account. But I would say once they're logged into the iPad, into Safari, then go into the ClassLink app and then log in there.
Right.
And then
It
see.
should reach out and use the Google login that they already put in to get to securely on Safari.
No, this next question is just our other elementary parent choice remote only using Google Classroom, School Brains, and no, definitely not. There's a program, Florida Virtual School, that is still being set up that will be used for our elementary learners, similar to Edgenuity for our middle school and high school learners. Yep, there should be nothing on the Chromebook. You would look for, if he's remote only, he's not going to have, like his 5th grade teachers at the Yale wouldn't be inviting him to their classrooms. There are remote only teachers that will be connecting with your kids that are parent choice remote. And again, Sean, I don't have an overview of exactly what the full remote learning is going to look like from a technical perspective. I guess my question would be, if you looked, you're not looking for technical requirements for the Florida Virtual or Edgenuity, are you? Maybe you could clarify that. I think what we can do is maybe we can write this down and we'll look further into it and maybe do an FAQ for you. So please know, for 5 days over the last week and a half, we have been distributing Chromebooks and iPads at each school to make sure that students had devices before the first day. We know that there are people who put in tickets right away, but again, you're looking at the entire tech department that is servicing devices for all students and teachers. So we appreciate your patience, but we are trying to get to the tickets as quickly as possible. So I guess my question would be, if you have picked up a device and did not get a sheet that had information about login, then that is a mistake from our part, because we actually have 2 separate notification sheets that are going to families. One, especially for our new students, new to Norton students, and also our youngest learners, how to actually log into the device. So if you didn't get that, I apologize. Do you provide loaners if there's a problem with an iPad or Chromebook? We definitely do provide Chromebook loaners. We are working on our iPads. I'm not sure what our inventory is, because we do actually have quite a number of new students in our primary grades. But if you have an issue with your device, your Chromebook or iPad, absolutely reach out and we will be sure to do the best that we can to get you another device to use. Okay. can we provide some insight on passwords for our first grade students, for anybody who did not have any idea how to log into ClassLink. If you are remote only, remote parent choice, I should say, it's definitely when you pick up the device, we provided that information. If you did not receive that paperwork, you know, the purple 17, that password that I mentioned previously was definitely something that we had set up just as a default password and had asked families and students to reset them. And again, if you did not get that information, please reach out. 7th grader, full remote, nothing is listed in her Google Classroom or School Brains. Yeah, so the full remote, there's not going to be anything listed in Google Classroom yet. Again, I would say if she's full remote, the teacher will be reaching out. If not tomorrow, I would say Wednesday morning. All right. When will we get the quick cards? Teachers have been provided with the quick cards, so either they will be giving them to their students when they arrive on the first day, face-to-face, right? Because if it is remote learning only, we'll not be getting the quick cards at this time. That would just be for the hybrid students. All right, we have just a few more questions and we have about 6 or 7 minutes left. We do not have a phone to call if you run into issues. Again, if you just quickly send us that tech support request. We don't have a tech support phone number, unfortunately. You know, we are running from building to building, assisting staff as best we can as well. But we will do what we can to support families. So if you did not pick up your device, whether you have if you're parent choice remote and you did not pick up your device, we are at the high school tomorrow as our last day of handing out devices for all of the incoming freshmen. And we do have some of the parent choice remote, or actually I think the rest of the parent choice remote from the elementary. Is that correct? Is that what we took, Paul and Nick, tonight after the middle school?
Yes.
So did we take the middle school parent choice remote too? You said yes, right? Not sure.
Not
Definitely
sure.
have the elementary. What we've done is, so that if your child is parent choice remote from the LGN, JCS, or the HAY, and you didn't pick up the device, we have them. Meet us at the high school where tomorrow is our last day of device distribution from 9 to 11, 1 to 3, and 5 to 6. And what we can do is, if you want to grab it then, if not, you can make arrangements with the school itself, you know, directly calling the office. All right. Okay, no, each individual app is not going to log into your student account initially for ClassLink. So this is on an iPad for a first grader. I'm logged into Google, I open ClassLink, I have a whole page full of apps and probably, you know, 6 to 8 right now. And then it just says we need to activate, autofill, but each individual app is not logged in to my student's account. So what we need to do is we'll check on that, and a lot of the apps, to be quite honest, like I know we're still working on connecting Freckle. I know I can tell you Seesaw, if you're not parent choice remote, if you are a hybrid student, Seesaw was pretty close to up and running completely today. We did have some issues with student email accounts, And if the email account wasn't accurately written or typed, we definitely had some glitches there with the way that it was syncing. So we can look to, again, Kara's asking this, whether it is each individual app is not logged in. Any thoughts on that, Paul?
If it's out of ClassLink, it's probably just because we haven't finished completing the connection to that product through ClassLink. We probably have, I think it's like 3 or 4 more that are left that haven't been fully. I know Brain Pop Junior, the Learning A to Z. I can't think of the other one. Freckle. Like you had said, we're still working on finalizing the connection to them.
All right, so another question, has not gotten any overviews to set expectation. And again, Sean, that's not coming from us, the online remote. What that would be Jen O'Neill and the assistant superintendent and Marty Gagan, who is kind of overseeing that. So yes, so Renee, hopefully Paul just answered that. You are going to get errors. Brain Pop is not synced yet. And again, we ask for your patience. That teachers have been very patient with us as well, because as I mentioned earlier tonight, with the Northeast being the last ones to start school, we've been kind of pushed off by vendors about connecting and getting our needs met in terms of connecting with the programs like ClassLink and doing the single sign-on. So if you just give us some time, hopefully by the end of the month, everything will be good to go in terms of the single sign-on. If your child is coming to school and participating in the hybrid, I know that the classroom teachers will walk them through things as well. We can absolutely, Steve, provide you with more information. I know that Christina and I were working on a student family kind of support page where you can look specifically for information such as like the ClassLink how-to, turning off notifications. Even if I know we started a little YouTube channel that we can share with you as well, that has some short video clips that will help you to kind of troubleshoot. Logging onto my 5th grader's Chromebook now and ClassLink comes up. However, what should we be looking for under it? 5th grade ClassLink. Again, we have a lot of new things in terms of, I know Freckle will be there or should be there. I know ST Math is there, for all of our elementary. I want to say some of the others, so Brain Pop will be there, not accessible quite yet. We have had a Brain Pop and Brain Pop Junior account for some time in Norton for our elementary folks, but we've always had like a shared login. So if you are, the ClassLink, they log in with Google, their Google accounts, and then another kind of screen pops up with all of the apps. So hopefully you'll be able to see the apps once they are all connected. All right. So Freckle and ST Math, like I said, are going to be directly through ClassLink. All right. So thank you for some of you, well, all of you for attending tonight. It's just about 7:30. What we'll do is, I know that we can get this set up on the recording set up on the COVID page, but I'm wondering if we can do the transcript and perhaps share that out with people as well, because there are a lot of really great questions. we don't have all the answers. And I'm not going to be I'll be the first one to tell you we're doing the best that we can. So I know sometimes it's super frustrating when you don't have all of the answers that you want yesterday. But know that we really are trying to support you the best that we can and support the kids, because ultimately that's why we're here, right? So with that, thank you all for joining us. I do truly appreciate it. And if we feel as though this would be beneficial, maybe like hosting like another night, maybe I can make, it like more targeted, right? Maybe we can walk you through how to do certain things, specifically like with a program, maybe just be on the lookout for like school brains, be on the lookout for, and again, not everybody's getting school brains, but if you have any questions, I believe I have reached out via Let's Talk for now until we get Parent Square up and running. But, when we try to reset passwords, if you can put in, that's kind of a low hanging fruit, right? We can do a password pretty quickly if you submit that to us. But if you have any other questions, please reach out via Let's Talk, or if you have some ideas for a future session, we'd love to be able to help you and support you, and know that we want to help you as much as we can. So thanks, everyone. Have a great night, and here's hoping we have a great start to the school year this week. Thanks, team, for coming tonight. Appreciate it.